All right, I'm excited to show you guys the brand new XGIMI Horizon 20 Max. This thing is a 4K RGB triple laser, but it has lens shifting abilities and optical zoom, in addition to being 5700 ISO lumen, which is probably the brightest projector I've ever reviewed. Add to that Dolby Vision, HDR10+, IMAX enhanced, and some of the best gaming specs I've ever seen on a projector. This thing's absolutely loaded. But before we get into those features, let's get this Horizon 20 Max out of the box. So this isn't gonna be the longest unboxing that we've ever done, but what's most important is XGIMI has fantastic protective carrying cases. So if you're gonna be moving from room to room or house to house, you know it's gonna get there safely. So the first thing that we got out of the box was the power brick. Now, of all the things to complain about a projector or any electronics, this power brick is pretty large, and I'm not really sure if that's the reason that the Horizon 20 Max is so light at only 11 pounds, but maybe that's the case. And then the only other piece of hardware in the box besides the projector was the remote, which is very premium, to be honest. I like the look of it. Of course, it has the all-important autofocus button. You do get some free TV, and then of course got the input button, back, settings, home, all the important things that you need. And then there's a couple shortcut buttons, which is great, including one that you can customize, so that's really nice. And all this is fine and dandy, but this remote is also backlit, which is so crucial when it comes to watching content in a dark room. So love that it's backlit. And then of course we have the Horizon 20 Max itself in all of its glory. A flagship projector if I've ever seen one. I love pretty much everything about this. The look of it from the front, the speaker location, all of the technology built in, and then the gimbal as well. Just a really nice gimbal, up, down, left, right, very easy to implement, use in any kind of situation. And then on the back you have the power button, a headphone jack, two HDMI ports, one being the eARC, so you can plug in a soundbar or a system to it, two USB, and then one optical output, if anybody still uses that. And then lastly, you have the power jack on the base of the projector. I really like the location of this. Very easy to turn left and right and up and down. You're not going to get caught up on cords unless you are plugging in a bunch of HDMIs and inputs to what I had just said before. So can be very minimalistic. And the external features are fantastic, as I said before, but really what's important is how good this thing looks when you're projecting content. So let's go ahead and take it into the office and set it up. So here you can see we have the Google TV operating system on, which is clearly my favorite operating system, and I'm so glad it's included on this projector. But in order to get here, we had to set it up, and we're fairly straight on, but it was really impressive how the Horizon 20 Max snapped into place. The auto screen fit worked perfectly in here from straight on. You can auto keystone, it auto focuses. It even has like wall adjustment for ambient light color. So there's all kinds of auto features that the Horizon 20 Max has. Now, there are two really unique features to this product, which are the lens shifting and the optical zoom. So depending upon where you can place the projector and where your screen is, if you need to shift left or right or up or down, it can do that. And then also sometimes you're restricted on how far away you can get from the screen. Luckily, this optical zoom can go 1.2 to 1.5 to 1. And since it's an optical zoom, you actually don't lose any resolution, and it'll stay 4K even when you're all the way maxed out. And as you can see with it on the Google TV home screen, this thing is bright. 5700 ISO lumen. Again, this is clearly the brightest projector we've had in the house, and we have the lights on in the office. I don't even think you can tell because it's so bright, you can't really tell how bright the light is in the background. But if I say, Alexa, office light off, now you can see lights are off. I mean, that's a huge difference for us to visualize this, but it's hard to relay that on, content because you guys just see the bright screen. But trust me, very bright and vibrant screen. And honestly, we could have just left the light on and done this entire review with it on. But clearly it looks better with it off. And this is how I'm going to watch it in here when I'm watching football or whatever. Operating system, again, great. There's so many apps to choose from. Again, a couple different free TV channel things that you can watch if you don't subscribe to cable. It does always know where you were in different programs from TV to TV, which is awesome. All kinds of content that you can watch, movies, TV shows. It knows what apps you have and recommends all kinds of stuff. So fantastic operating system. And it has a little bit of screensaver action if you want that too. You can pick all kinds of different backgrounds that'll show up, temperature, time. So you're always informed. Now, to better illuminate some of the strengths of this projector, we turned on some HDR footage because this does have Dolby Vision and HDR10+, as well as IMAX enhanced, which we'll show you some movie footage later. But but it covers 110% of BT 2020 color gamut and has a 20,000 to 1 contrast ratio. So the brightness is fantastic at 5700 ISO lumen, but you also want to have beautiful color and great contrast, all giving you spectacular image quality. So obviously the Horizon 20 Max looks fantastic with HDR, but let's challenge it a bit. Let's go into some sports and regular content here and see how well this projector upscales, processes, and interpolates motion. So we'll get into some YouTube TV and check some of that out. So my YouTube studio also doubles as a bit of a man cave, and watching football in here looks absolutely fantastic. To be honest, this looks better than some of the 100-inch TVs that I've had for a couple of reasons. One, it just looks nice and bright with really good contrast, and there isn't any blooming around the screen like there would be with a backlit LED TV. And with the lights off, I don't really notice any difference with regards to its brightness versus one of those 100-inch TVs that I would use. I mean, those are probably brighter in theory, but in a darker room, I don't think it really matters. This is far brighter than a movie theater projector, for instance. But at the same time, I feel like the processing is also better here because you're not getting a ton of artifacting around the edges of people running around the screen. Sometimes it's just really difficult for a TV to show sports with a lot of people moving around. And I feel like this projector is not really having that issue. Now, there are some adjustments for motion control when watching different types of content, because if there's any complaints, there could be a little bit of judder here or there with any TV or any projector. And I noticed just a little bit of that when watching some sports. So what you can do is you go into the settings and you can change the MEMC, or motion enhancement, motion control, and set that from off to low or medium. And that'll give you a little bit smoother motion and take away that judder. And I think that's fine, but that's a feature that people really like or really hate. So that's up to you. And then there's also this projector super frame. And when you engage that, it's sort of like a black frame insertion. So if you're watching fast-paced sports or whatever, that's also going to help you with making the fast motion look more smooth. But regardless of where you end up with those settings, I think this is fantastic for watching sports. Gigantic, immersive, bright, and it has great color and contrast. But enough hogging this Horizon 20 Max to myself. I need to take it out to the living room, watch some movies, play some video games with the family before I give you guys some buying advice. All right, so we have the Horizon 20 Max out here sitting next to me on this table because we have a 132-inch screen in the living room, and this is where we really want to watch movies on a regular basis, better sound system, all that. And it looks great offset on the stand, but we also do have its own pedestal that came from XGIMI, and that's really nice as well. So if you're gonna have this mobile, I recommend getting that. And it even has a place in the base for the power brick. It's very adjustable and portable, and you can pretty much take it anywhere, but we didn't need that right here, so we put it on the stand. But we basically have this set up as far back as we can in this room, and it covers the screen, but not by much. And since it's offset, we had to keystone it to some degree, and we tried the auto screen fit, which got it really close, but I think because we're so close, it didn't catch all the edges and it was in a little bit, so we just manually keystoned it up. And you do have the lens shifting ability up and down, left and right, but really, we got it to where we need it in this room. All right, so we have it all set up, time to watch the movies. And of course, the most important movie that we need to check out is K-pop Demon Hunter, all the rage these days. And right now, we have it set up in a pretty bright room, like it's the middle of the day, light is coming through the skylight, so it's pretty bright in here. And the Horizon 20 Max still looks very bright, and you actually have a couple settings you can mess around with. You can actually go into the advanced settings and find the Dolby Vision screen settings, and then you can adjust based on how big your screen is. And it looks like as you do so, it gets a lot brighter. So, I mean, we can go all the way up to 300 inches, but I figured, you know, it's a 132-inch screen. Why don't we go 140 or 150 inch? And then also the screen gain. I'm not sure where to set this. I'm just gonna leave it at 1, but it does make the overall image brighter. And again, in the middle of the day, this is totally acceptable for a projector. It's actually quite good. It's very comparable to some of the TVs we even have in here, but at a much larger scale. But since we'll primarily be watching movies and gaming at night, let's go ahead and black the room out. So now that we have the room darkened, I can actually see a lot more contrast, so even better. We turned on another top shelf movie in the Minecraft movie. Looks really good, but I realize I'm watching this on HBO Max, and I don't have the plan that comes with Dolby Vision and HDR, so this is actually just SDR, and it still looks really good. I did notice the specular highlights weren't quite as great as it was when we were watching the K-pop Demon Hunter movie. With that said, though, I think we need to move back into some HDR footage, so I'm gonna flip the script one more time and turn on the hit show Wednesday. Now, in general, this show is a little bit darker in tone and in color than you'd expect from most shows, movies, etc. But they do have some really nice HDR highlights, which is something I've noticed over the last many years when it comes to movie and show making. Creators are just trying to add more color and brightness brightness to the dynamic range. So this all just helps me illustrate a point that while I can't measure the specific ISO lumen on this projector, it is really bright, and it is noticeably brighter than many of the other projectors I've had in the house. And really the specular highlights is where it's most impactful. So it really looks like I'm watching this show on a really bright 132-inch TV in my living room. So that says a lot. And that's without the blooming or the dirty screen effect that you might have on a traditional LED type TV. Not to mention that that would be a lot smaller. So I'm loving the Horizon 20 Max so far, but I have not yet mentioned the gaming specs, which are pretty impressive as well. Now, sometimes these types of projectors can be good for casual gaming, but the input lag can be hit or miss depending on which one you're using or if you're playing a fast-paced game. But the Horizon 20 Max is actually quite good. Now, if you want to game at max resolution, you can 4K at 60 frames per second. The input lag is only 3 milliseconds, which is incredibly fast. And if you want it to be even faster, you can go 1080p and get 240 frames per second as low as 1 millisecond, so that's crazy fast. Now, putting it in that boost mode does take away your keystoning, and if you remove the boost, it doesn't put it back, so that's a little bit annoying. And to be honest, 240 hertz is mostly for PC gamers, so if that's you and you don't need the keystoning, great option. But for me, 4K 60 with only 3 milliseconds of lag is perfect. Either way, gaming is incredibly bright and vibrant, great contrast on an enormous screen in our living room here. But probably the coolest feature is that it's the world's first home projector to have variable refresh rate. So that's going to give you ultra smooth gaming while eliminating screen tears. And that's something that I know can really annoy gamers. So really low input lag, no screen tearing, sounds like a winner to me. So overall, where do we stand with the Horizon 20 Max and the 20 Pro and just the 20? There's 3 different units you can get from this series. I personally would go for the 20 Max because it has the most brightness at 5700 ISO lumen, and that's going to retail at $29.99. But until October 14th, you can actually get $600 off if you pre-ordered on their early bird offer, and you get a free floor stand that I showed you earlier along with Assassin's Creed Shadow game code. So I think that's a really good deal, specifically if you're trying to use this as your flagship in like your main viewing room. Now, you can save a little bit of money if you want to go with the 20 Pro or the 20. So if this is something that's going to be like a secondary screen in a room, or if it's going to be used outdoors or in many different scenarios, you know, you do lose a little bit of brightness, but you're still going to save a lot of money with that early bird offer and get some of those great accessories. And there's even bundles that you can get up to 120-inch screen with it too. So definitely click the link in the description below so you guys can find your ultimate setup. You can pick whichever one of these projectors you like. I would go with the Horizon 20 Max. Sounds like you have all kinds of great options, so definitely check the links in the description below. And let me know in the comments which one you're going to go with and what the best feature is on the Horizon 20 series. Make sure to smash the like button on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.